Walmart confirms hundreds of corporate layoffs. Walmart on Tuesday confirmed it is laying off hundreds of corporate employees.
We're seeing a record number of companies laying off employees. But when Walmart starts laying off their employees, you know we're in trouble. What happens when it's your turn? How will you react? Or if you've gone through that process already, how did you react? That's the topic of today's video. Stay to the end and I'll give you 3 insights on what you need to take away from your layoff notification. Today, and welcome back to my channel, Chandler's Retirement Life. We're talking layoffs today. You know, as a human resource manager, I've been involved in numerous layoffs, reduction in force, right sizing, downsizing, whatever they call it. I've had to structure it, manage it, and have that conversation with the employees. I've also, as an employee, been laid off, probably too many times. So why do companies lay off employees? Especially now, when we see that they're having record earnings. Well, for most companies, there is a financial aspect to it. They might have missed their sales revenue goals, or they see a slowdown coming, as now, they've been calling for a recession for quite a while now. Maybe some companies see that coming. Or maybe the company just went through a merger. You know, once upon a time, I was a regional HR manager. You know, I managed the states of Florida, Alabama, and North and South Carolina. We went through a merger with our number 2 competitor. And in the end, we had too much stuff, too many vehicles, too much office space, too much equipment, too much software, programs, and of course, too many people. We had to get rid of some people, or we had to part ways with some people. So I work with each site manager at each location. We kind of identified those employees that met our criteria. And so we had that conversation with each employee, give them the necessary paperwork, and we parted ways. And about a month and a half later, after I completed all that layoffs, all that work, they laid me off. You see, I understand. So downsizing is a normal part of a company's life cycle. You know, I worked for a home improvement center in upstate New York, where we lived for about 7 years. It's cold up there. As the HR manager, I was always behind the hiring process, simply because, when that sun finally comes out and you get that warmer temperatures, everybody who was locked away in their home because of the snow and the cold weather wanted to jump out and begin their garden projects. The challenge was you never knew what week or what month it would begin. So if you hired too early, those new employees would be eating up your sales revenue. If you hired too late, you wouldn't have enough people to run those garden centers. Then as soon as the weather changed back to the cold weather, you would have corporate hollering about reducing employee count. They would tell you that it's not personal, it's all business. But for you, it's personal, isn't it? So what happens when HR comes by and says, Roger, or maybe it's Sally, do you have a minute? Let's talk in my office. Sometimes we would have that conversation in your office if you have one. And then at this point, all kinds of feelings are rushing through you. You heard the rumors. You just weren't sure if you would be on it. And now that you're walking back to the HR office, you just got this terrible feeling. You get in the office and HR says, I have some bad news. The company has decided to part ways with you. You see, there's no easy way to say it. At this point, you're feeling like it's got to be a mistake. Do you know how much work I do around here? There's no way that this department will survive without me. I want to talk to my manager. HR will insist that you are being let go. They'll provide you with some needed paperwork. Make sure you're listening, especially if it's about severance. HR will collect all the company equipment, such as, if you have a cell phone, badges, keys, anything that belongs to the company. They'll collect it right there. Then they'll escort you back to your office or maybe to your department to collect your personal items. If you have a computer, no need trying to get back on it because IT has probably cut off your access by now. And now you're getting really angry. This is no way to treat an employee, especially one that has been with the company for this many years. It's kind of what you're telling yourself. But just keep calm, take a deep breath, collect your stuff, and they'll escort you out the door. You won't have any time to say goodbye to anybody, but we'll get to that later. Now, if you need a minute, once you're outside in your car, take it before you drive home. The best thing you could do at this point is just to say a prayer, because when the Lord allows turbulence in our life, it's because He's working on something better and greater for us. You see, I worked at a boiler company as an HR director. Good pay, but terrible work-life balance. Very poor leadership. They had some talented managers, but the majority were poor leaders. And it reflected in the company's performance. We always missed sales and revenue goals. I had a long list of legal suits that consumed my time. And my tolerance was kind of running thin. And I knew my days were numbered. Several managers that asked me, why do you stay and put up with the BS? I would always tell them, sometimes things are out of your control. And when they are out of your control, you know what? You give it to God and you let Him work that out. You get home and you have a conversation with your spouse. And now you both are angry that they did this to you. But who is they? When we let people go, it's because there is something negative in their performance records. Maybe they're on a PIP, a performance improvement plan. Maybe there are too many counselings for tardiness and lateness in their records. Maybe they have a low score on their annual performance review. And sometimes, maybe the manager just doesn't like you. After a couple of days talking to everybody that you can, it starts to settle in, and you accept the fact that you've been laid off. Now we're making progress. So some things to remember. So if you were eligible for severance pay, you must turn in the paperwork no later than the date that they indicated during your termination conversation. You want to review your state's unemployment process and file for unemployment as soon as you can. Now's the time when you want to reassess your situation. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? And whatever that is, make a plan. If you want to go back in to the workforce, update your resume and start calling your connections. You'll find something. But you never want to burn a bridge, simply because in your next job, HR will call your previous company. They'll try to get an employee verification, maybe a little bit more. We'll ask why you left. They might just say layoffs. And we might say, did you have any problems with this employee? And although they're not supposed to say anything, sometimes they do. Sometimes they whisper some of the problems that they had with you. So just note that. So layoffs can be a very trying time for you and your family. And at the same time, it can be and offer you the best opportunity that you've been waiting for. Now is a time when you can maybe start your own business, retire if you're able to, or maybe even take that long vacation that you've always been wanting. But whatever you decide to do, know that God is walking with you. I'm Chandler from Chandler's Retirement Life, signing off and saying, let's blow this up.